There's an age where getting hired on cruise ships goes from being difficult to nearly impossible. And so let me tell you exactly where that line is and if you are already past it. If you're in your 50s or 60s thinking about cruise ship work, you might already have felt this quiet worry that the window might already have closed, that maybe you left it a little bit too long, or that the industry would just look at your profile, see your age, and close your applications and move on. I've had direct conversations with agents and cruise lines, these people who actually make the decisions, and I know what they feel, how they think, and what they do once they see an application from a 50-year-old that lands on their desk. And so I really want to give you the honest picture in this video, where the threshold actually is, why cruise lines think in the way they think about age. And if you're still wanting to work on cruise ships, I'm also going to tell you towards the end of the video how you can maximize your chances of getting there, because I do believe that you should go for it if that's what you truly want to do. Because age is not the only factor that matters in this world. And if you become aware of the other factors, this is when you are in a position of strength. Before we get into this, if you're wondering if this path is actually right for you before you spend time making applications and sending it to agents, I made a free self-check quiz specifically for this. The link is in the description, so feel free to grab it right now, pause the video, answer it, and then come back so that you can save time and know if this path is actually right for you. Let's get down to it straight away. What is the actual age when it becomes a little bit too late for you to start applying on cruise ships? If I had to give an age based on the conversations I've had, I would say it's 50 years old. Unfortunately, when cruise lines or agents look at applications, they will always pick the youngest candidate. Why? Just because it looks better. Unfortunately, society's standards of beauty always favor younger people, and so cruise lines will always prefer having younger people in their venues on the cruise ships. What I'm saying here is not that you can't apply and that you will never get a job if you're over 50. It just means that it's probably going to be a little bit harder for you because you're competing with other musicians or other candidates who are much younger than you. So there are two reasons why age matters so much to cruise lines. The first one, we talked about it, is the beauty standards and how society thinks about age. The second one is that when you work on a cruise ship, the cruise line is responsible for your health insurance. So it means that if you are breaking an ankle or getting sick or anything that happens to you on the ship, you will be covered financially by the cruise line. And when you're a little bit older, you have more chances of having troubles in terms of your health, getting sick, or needing health care. So for cruise lines, picking a younger candidate is not only better financially for them, but also on the paper when people actually go to the bar and see that younger musician. As I said it in the beginning of the video, age is not the only factor that weighs in the balance when you're wanting to work on a cruise ship. So if you are still wanting to do it, feel free to grab the free guide that will tell you honestly where you stand, knowing your age, but also the other factors. This is a free self-check quiz that will take you 2 minutes, and you can just pause the video, grab it down below, and come back to the video once you've done it. Now, if you're thinking, hey, I'm actually in my 50s or 60s, I understand that cruise lines would pick a younger candidate if they could, but I still really want to do this. Like, how do I get there? What do I do? Because I really believe that it's important to go for whatever you feel like you should go to. You know, I'm going to give you an example, is that when I was 17 years old, I was in France. My parents wanted me to do studies, and I just wanted to do music. And in France at the time, there was not really any contemporary schools of like how to learn how to play music, how to accompany yourself, how to write songs, the contemporary stuff, right? And I wanted to go to London. So I was really lucky because I was supported by my parents, but I was surrounded by people who didn't really believe this could work. Nobody believed I could make a living as a musician when I didn't know anybody who was doing this. I couldn't even speak English, and I didn't have experience doing this, so it was all new to me. And even though the environment I was in was not helping my deeper purpose, I still went for it. It took me 5 years to figure it out, but I managed to find a way to make a living out of music, which was cruise ships. So this little story is just to tell you that if that's your case, if you're in your 50s or 60s and that you feel, hey, I really want to work on cruise ships because I want to travel, because I want to meet people, I want to get the experience, I want to get the money, and I just want to do it, I'm 100% sure, I would say go for it. Life is too short, and there actually is a way you could actually get on there, even if it's going to be harder for you. And so what is this way you could actually get on there? What I would recommend is that you first make sure that your materials are completely up to date, that they are good. Because when you apply for a job as a musician on cruise ships and that you are in your 50s or 60s, you already have this thing of like, oh, I'm a little bit older than they would like. But if your material is not as good, then you have two reasons why they wouldn't hire you. So make sure there's only one. Make sure that age is the only reason why they would not pick you in the first place. That means that you need to have the right song list, the right show reel, and I cover all of this in my course, which is just linked below if you want to have a look. That's specifically important for you guys because you have this age factor, which matters a lot. So let's imagine that you have all the materials, that you are confident that what you are sending out to agents and cruise lines is the best possible, that you would definitely get hired as the first musician if you were a bit younger. What I would do is I would send an email to agencies with your material being as professional as possible, and your best chance of getting hired will really be to be available last minute. So a lot of the time what happens on ships is that someone gets sick or they have to be sent home because they drank too much alcohol and got tested in the morning. And so agents or cruise lines need a musician straight away. Like, can you fly out tomorrow or next week or in 3 days from now? And the problem is that most of the time, agents or cruise lines will not be able to find someone last minute like this. And so they are kind of forced in that moment to just pick anyone who come to them, even if the materials is not perfect, even if you're a little bit older than what they would like. And so this really is your best bet, because once you have had a last minute replacement job like this, you can say that you have worked on a cruise ship and you will have had time to prove that you're actually good, and that it's not because you're 50 years old or 60 that you can't do the job. So that's the first thing that I would do, is making yourself available last minute, and make sure to let agents know. When I say let them know, not just let them know and then in 2 years from now you wonder why you didn't hear back. Keep letting them know every 3 months. Keep sending them your materials and making yourself available by saying you're available last minute. The second thing I would do is it's really important that when you film your show reel, when you send out the pictures, it's really important that you look not as young as possible, because that's not what we want, but that you have style, that you have energy, right? And that you know how to dress well, how to make yourself look like you're an entertainer and like a performer and like you're professional. And all these things will really play in your favor, so that the agents and cruise lines will think, hey, I don't even see in that video that they're a little bit older. That would be 2 of the biggest things I would really recommend you to do if you were still wanting to work on cruise ships, because these are definitely your best bets. So if you watched this and thought, hey, I'm actually in my 50s or 60s, and I still want to work on cruise ships, that's really my path, I would really recommend that you check out the course How to Become a Cruise Ship Musician, to make sure that all your materials are as good as they possibly can, and to make sure that age will be the only factor that can bring your application down, but that you still have your chances of getting hired. And it teaches you everything you need to know, from being a musician on land to actually getting your first contract on board. I've put everything I know from my 4 years of experience on cruise ships, as well as the direct conversations I've had with agencies. And so this course is primarily for solo performers like piano vocalists or guitar vocalists, and partially for duos, trios, or bands who are also interested to get on cruise ships. The link is in the description if you want to go and have a look. So yes, the truth is that age makes it harder, but it doesn't make it impossible. However, it does mean that everything else has to be better than the average. It has to be better than other people. If you're enjoying this kind of content about how to get on cruise ship and about what ship life is, feel free to subscribe down below, as I post 2 videos per week now on these topics. And feel free to comment down below how old you are and what is stopping you right now from actually applying to agencies, so I can help you better and create more videos tailored to you specifically. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.